Good evening, folks. We are in week 8, and as we discussed, we wanted to provide a very quick, maybe just a couple minute overview on the final project and the expectations in general of that. I know we covered that in class before, but just wanted to offer up a few final summative things in case anybody did have any questions on those. And then secondly, wanted to give you an outline of what the final exam will entail and how we can approach those. And then lastly, some course wrap-up items. So as you'll see underneath week 8, that is the location for which we will submit our final projects as well as our final exam. And so I want us to come down here a little bit more. You notice that this was in red before here, but this is an exam preparation study guide. So I encourage you to look and go over that study guide before you take the exam. You certainly do not need to, but it's just an option. Recall that we are letting folks use their notes, so you can use web resources, your class content information to help you with the final exam. But first order of business here, let's go ahead and talk about the final project. Just briefly, a recap. This is not anything that should be new for people, but what will your final project look like or entail? Some type of data collection or enhancement of data and how the data was collected, what we could do with it, and potential sources of error. And you'll see the report format provided here. The report format will be a part of the presentation and your final paper. So moral of the story is your report format will look very similar to your lab write-ups, and your short presentation would also follow this format just so that it's easier. I mean, that's really the only reason why. Let's go ahead and take a look at the products. Paper length is not really important. Usually on average, papers are typically, yeah, I have 7 to 12 pages there, but it really depends on what you and your group want to include. The formatting of your paper is not important. Just make sure, I think in the end, that your visuals are clearly communicating a story and have a good caption with them. And so that's a good rule of thumb to use. And then also some type of a presentation that is really open-ended for what you and your group want to do if you are with a group. So whether you want to use just a summary and show some graphics, or whether you have a PowerPoint and kind of a layout that was congruent with the format above up here where my mouse is, that's really up to you. I believe in the handout that we provided in class, we had a little bit longer of a presentation, but that's really not required to be that long. You know, if we were to do that in some class situation, it might be okay. But this is a rule of thumb. 5 to 10 minutes is a rule of thumb. If it's 4 minutes, that's fine too. You know, probably will be difficult to do something in 1 or 2 minutes, but certainly feel free to keep that under 5 minutes. That's no problem. And to record your presentation, access the Integrity tab in your table of contents. I just want to show you where that is. And from there, you can upload your video presentation. So let's come back up here. And there will be a tab here called Tegrity Recordings. So if you click Tegrity Recordings, you can select the Tegrity Lecture Capture. For you, it might say something a little bit different, but what that will do will capture and collect your screen. If you don't need to activate your camera uh, on your laptop or anything like that. It's just more or less if you want to, but otherwise your audio and your screen will be captured. That's really the most important. And then once you've finished with your recording, simply down below down here, you want to say stop recording, and then you'll upload that. If at all during your presentation you would like to pause, there is also a pause button here as well. But again, the stop recording will enable you to upload your final presentation for for your final project. So that's a little bit on the final project. I think folks are doing really well on that. Met with I think just about every group at somewhere along the way. So if you have any final questions, let me know so that I can help you. So that was item number one. Item number two is your final exam. The final exam will be open note. So you'll see that right here. You may use your notes, and this will be open through. I think I had it in the syllabus as well there through April 30th. So at any time that you want to take that, that's completely fine. But everything should be contained within Blackboard, and you can use your notes. Obviously, this will not be a practical, meaning an outside get together, setting up gear and instruments and whatnot, but there'll be some scenarios, a little short answer and whatnot. So to activate your final exam, you'll simply access this link right here, and that will then take you through some of the exam questions. And there'll be some multiple choice, some uh, graphics, and really assessment a little bit of what's happening types of things, and some short little essays and whatnot. But again, you can use your notes. If you do cite any resources, just please make sure that you include those in there. The the most important thing I can recommend for you is right here. So during the exam, you may be prompted to save your answers or save your selections. I encourage you to do that always. And I also encourage you to write your responses in like Microsoft Word or Notepad or whatever it is, and make sure you write those in Word, because if Blackboard crashes or something happens and you do not get a chance to save your information, that's going to be really troubling. And so save your responses, type out all your responses in Word, and then just copy them and paste them into the exam box here for the final exam. And then when you're finished, just like it would be for a quiz, go ahead and submit that, and then I can start going through that. And then quiz 5 is also posted there. But if you do have any problems with the exam, please reach out to me so that I can help you. And it's open note, and again, you have multiple days to go through that. As I referenced here, the study guide will be helpful for you to go through, I think, just in general, and just as a recap of materials from the class. So otherwise, in general, for course recap, the only thing that we really need to do here for folks that did have or do have any GPS, handheld GPS units that were provided out to you, please bring those to your first summer term course, and we'll hand those in and get you all squared away. And then we'll be just posting grades over the next week here for folks. So again, people are doing very well overall. So I think that's a very positive and cool thing. So my hat's off to everybody for a really great course. I'm proud of your work. I'm proud of the journey where we've come from week one. So I appreciate all of you and all of your efforts, and look forward to seeing you again soon. Once again, if you have any questions, please let me know. Have a good weekend.